Everything around us is made of tiny particles called atoms. These atoms are so small that they are invisible to the naked eye, yet they form the very essence of all matter. Atoms are the fundamental building blocks of matter. They combine in countless ways to create the diverse materials and substances we encounter every day. Imagine the smallest thing you can think of, like a grain of sand. Even this tiny grain is made up of billions of atoms. Now imagine something even smaller. That's how tiny atoms are. They are so minuscule that millions of them could fit on the head of a pin. Atoms are so small that we can't even see them with a regular microscope. Special instruments like electron microscopes are needed to observe them. Yet these tiny particles are responsible for everything we see, touch, and experience in the world. They form the basis of all physical objects, from the simplest to the most complex. From the air we breathe to the food we eat, it all comes down to atoms. They are the building blocks of life and the universe. But what are these tiny atoms made of? Despite their small size, atoms are composed of even smaller components. Atoms themselves are made up of even smaller particles. These subatomic particles are the true fundamental units of matter. The three main ones are called protons, neutrons, and electrons. Each of these particles has distinct properties and functions. Each of these particles plays a unique and important role in the structure and behavior of an atom. Protons and neutrons form the nucleus, while electrons orbit around it, creating the atom's overall structure. At the heart of every atom lies the nucleus, and inside the nucleus we find the positively charged proton. You can think of the proton as the anchor of the atom, giving it its identity. The number of protons in an atom determines what element it is. For example, an atom with one proton is always hydrogen, and an atom with two protons is always helium. Pretty cool, right? The proton, with its positive charge, plays a crucial role in attracting another important particle, the electron, but more about that later. Now let's talk about the neutron. Neutrons live in the nucleus with the protons. They have no charge, which means they're neutral. Picture them as the peacekeepers inside the atom. Their main job is to keep the protons from repelling each other. You see, like charges repel, meaning protons don't like to be too close to other protons. Neutrons act like glue, holding the nucleus together. Without neutrons, the nucleus would be unstable, and atoms as we know them wouldn't exist. Section 4. Zipping around electrons in orbit. In this section we will explore the fascinating world of electrons and their dynamic behavior within an atom. Zooming around the nucleus, we have the negatively charged electrons. These tiny particles are essential to the structure and function of atoms. Electrons are much smaller than protons and neutrons. In fact, they are nearly 1,800 times lighter than protons, making them incredibly nimble and quick. They are constantly on the move, orbiting the nucleus at incredibly high speeds. This rapid motion is a key characteristic of electrons. Imagine a super-fast race car whizzing around a track. The speed and agility of the car can give us a sense of how electrons behave. That's kind of like an electron orbiting the nucleus. The electron's path is not fixed, but rather a cloud of probability where it might be found. The negative charge of the electrons is attracted to the positive charge of the protons in the nucleus. This electrostatic force is fundamental to atomic structure. This attraction is what keeps the electrons bound to the atom, kind of like how the Earth orbits the Sun. The balance of these forces creates the stable structure of matter. Section 5. Building blocks of the universe, putting it all together. In this section we will explore how the fundamental particles come together to form the world around us. So we have protons and neutrons in the nucleus, which are the core components of an atom, and electrons orbiting around it, creating a dynamic and balanced structure. This basic structure is what forms an atom, the building block of all matter. The number of protons, neutrons, and electrons can change, leading to different elements in isotopes, but the basic structure remains the same, ensuring stability in the atomic world. Think of it like building with Legos. Each brick represents a subatomic particle. You can use different numbers and colors of bricks to create different structures, just like atoms can form various elements. But they are all still Lego creations. Similarly, all matter is made up of atoms. Atoms are like the Legos of the universe, the fundamental building blocks. They combine in different ways to create all the different materials we see around us, from the air we breathe to the stars in the sky. Section 6. Atoms, the tiny architects of our world. Understanding atoms is essential for understanding how the world works. From the smallest grains of sand to the largest stars in the universe, it all comes down to the interactions of these tiny particles. By studying atoms, scientists can develop new technologies, create new materials, and solve some of the world's biggest challenges. So, the next time you look at anything, remember the amazing world of atoms working behind the scenes.